He just sent a message. Head Coach Kirby Smart just called out a young Bulldog. We got updates on that. We got updates on training camp and recruitment surrounding the Georgia football team. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Georgia Football 365. If you are a Georgia Bulldogs fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 10.2% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into what we got for today. Kirby Smart just took the podium and called out starting right tackle Juan Gaston. Juan started multiple games for Georgia last year. He played both right tackle and right guard. This year projects as the starting right tackle for the Bulldogs. And here's what Kirby Smart had to say about him, according to Dogs 24/7. Kirby said, "Somewhere out in you guys' world, it becomes this great offseason loss of weight and this great physical specimen, but he has to be able to play more snaps. He's got to have better stamina," and I've addressed that with him. I've told him, I said, you can do one of two things. You can read what people write about you, or you can listen to what your coaches tell you, and you'll listen to the truth. So first of all, you'll love to hear the coaches being coaches, not just the players' best friends, because, Gaston has his friends for that. The point of the coaching staff isn't there to be nice to you. They're not there to coddle you. Their goal is to be there and turn you into the best possible Georgia Bulldog football player that we possibly can. That's what Kirby Smart is doing right now. We know that Juan had, from last year to this year, had to lose some weight to become that next great Georgia O-lineman. He got a lot of hype from his teammate Ernest Green, who talked about his weight loss journey over the course of the summer, but clearly it was not enough for Kirby. He felt the need to call out Gaston today, saying that he needed to have more stamina and essentially just needed to be in better shape. I know a lot of people look at offensive linemen and think, oh, none of them are in shape. They're just these big guys that are there just to get in the way. But we know that's not true. Being an offensive lineman, being an athlete is part of that, especially if you're an offensive tackle. You are tasked with dealing with some of the most athletic people on the entire defense, which is our opponent's edge rushers. Those guys are super athletic. They're bendy. They're going to get off the ball quickly. They're going to try to get under you, get around you, run around you. If you are going to be an offensive tackle, you got to be athletic, and that's what we want to see Juan Gaston take that next step and be that next elite offensive lineman for us. The fact that Kirby felt the need to not just do this in private, but step out and do this on a bigger stage and let the media into this, it shows that this is something super serious, and this is something that Kirby really wants to make sure that everyone knows is happening, because when you do it behind closed doors, it's going to be respected because Kirby Smart is a highly respected coach and he's a great coach. But when you put it out, when you put it behind closed doors, sometimes it gets listened to, sometimes it doesn't. When you put it out in the media space like this, it becomes a storyline that is unignorable, and hopefully Juan Gaston can continue his weight loss journey here and develop into the best possible version of himself. We're not asking him to do anything he's not capable of. All we're asking for is him to be him, but the best version of him that he can possibly give us. I have no doubts that he will be able to make it to that level. Now, let's jump into our next update here. We heard over the last couple of days, there's been a lot of buzz in the landscape of college football with players returning from the NFL who previously did not have college eligibility remaining. The NCAA loses their court case. Now after the 5x5 gets implemented, NCAA loses the court case. 2022 players can come back. We heard that Speer was reportedly at Georgia practice, but Kirby Smart gives us an update on that, essentially telling us to pump the brakes. Coming from Dogs HQ on Tuesday, UGA Sports reported that Speer would be rejoining Georgia for a fifth year after a recent court ruling in Colorado. At his Wednesday press conference, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart clarified Speer's status with the team. Kirby said, "I wouldn't make any assumptions right now with the NCAA and the rulings and all the things going on. So he is not officially back with the team. We've had the conversations with he and a lot of guys, but nothing's official yet." So essentially, Kirby's telling us, I know what's going on. We don't fully know what that situation is going to look like, so we're going to pump the brakes. Cole Speer, not yet back with the Georgia Bulldogs. Speer would be rejoining the wide receiver room, a former wide receiver for Georgia, but he would be making a bigger impact on special teams. Sokovie White-Helton came out and said that he would love to have Cole Speer back, even though it is sort of a busy, crowded is a better term, wide receiver room right now. They would be happy to have him back. So we'll see how this goes. But we have heard over the past couple of weeks, Kirby has talked about how he has put his roster together with the expectation of these are the guys that we're going into the season with, which is the right mentality. He's going into it with, if we get extra players, great. But I'm going to assume that we're not getting extra players. We're not going to build our roster around that. We're not going to be LSU basketball. So that's the smart way for Kirby to go about this. We're going to see whether or not Speer is going to be rejoining Georgia, but I do want to make sure we pump the brakes on that because it has been previously reported by multiple outlets that he was already back, already practicing, which is just not true. Now, our next update here, where are we going to go here? 24/7 Sports is reporting from Georgia training camp. They ranked each and every position group so far of how the training camp has gone. And unfortunately, the wide receivers were ranked as the worst position group for Georgia. Not a surprise. And as they pointed out, one position group had to be last. But we know offensively with Georgia, the O-line is going to be great. The run game is going to be great. What puts the ceiling on this team, or what sets the ceiling, I shouldn't say you don't want to put a ceiling on it, but what sets the ceiling is how good is Georgia's pass game going to be this upcoming year. We know everything else is going to be great. It's the pass game that is usually questionable with us. So you would like to hear really any sort of positive buzz from the wide receiver room. Dogs 24/7 did call out Talon Taylor as the standout of the wide receiver room. Taylor going into his sophomore season with Georgia this year, formerly a four-star prospect, ranked the 40th best player in the 2025 class and the 6th best wide receiver in the class by 24/7 Sports. But you would like to see some more hype coming out of training camp for the wide receivers. That's going to be a big time, is Georgia going to be good or not? Or not how good? The better term, what I'm looking for is how good is Georgia going to be? Of course, we're going to be great, but the wide receiver room really can make or break this football team this upcoming season. Would like to hear a little bit more from that. Let's jump into some other updates here. We have, before the Jamarcus Johnson, here we go. Joakim Gouda, currently committed to Georgia, where he has been committed since June 1st of this year. The new update on Gouda is there are 2 SEC schools trying to pry him away from Georgia. He's a Georgia kid coming from Powder Springs, Georgia, one of the top linebacker recruits in the class of 2027. In fact, the 14th best linebacker recruit in the class of 2027. The update here, Texas Longhorns, Florida Gators are trying to make life difficult on us right now. They are both going after Joakim Gouda and trying to flip him. Next recruiting update, we're going to fire through these really quickly. Jamarcus Johnson, Georgia has been named as one of the final schools for Jamarcus. 6'5", 308-pound defensive lineman, ranked as one of the top defensive linemen in that class of 2028. We can see 42nd best recruit in the class, 5th best defensive lineman, 7th best player in the state of Georgia. We want to make sure we are not letting elite talent guys get out of our home state here in Georgia. That's how you remain an elite college football program. Final name here going to be Casey Barner, a very, very highly touted recruit here. Casey Barner going to be on campus for week 2, September 12th for Georgia. He's going to be seeing a game against a pretty weak opponent. It's going to be a blowout. But Casey Barner is the number 1 ranked safety in the class of 2028. 5th best player in the class overall consensus-wise. So he is a monster. You would love to see, after in the 2027 class, we have Seth Williams committed and Adrian Cole committed. So those are 2 really highly touted safety recruits. Adding a 3rd in 2 years would be really strong for the safety pipeline for the Bulldogs going forwards. So I am excited to see what other updates we hear on Casey Barner. He's also like a name we mentioned earlier in this video, also from Powder Springs, Georgia. Got to keep the elite players in state. Do not let them go. hopefully we can make a great impression on September 12th when he's on campus. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Go Dogs!